Hello YouTube, this is Morgan, Airspeed Prime here with my next Korra news update video, once again on the Legend of Korra Pro Bending Arena game and the Kickstarter. I'm just going to cover the last 3 days of reveals. So of course, as predicted, the day 13 reveal was of course going to be Kuvira, and here we find out that it is. So there's the Kuvira mini, her cards, the universal cards that you get, and her team board. Earth Empire is of course the team. There's the description that we get for her. Kuvira is not only a political and military genius, her metal bending is without peer in single combat, and her acrobatics allow her to dance between multiple foes. Kuvira can switch from attack to defense and back again within the same seemingly effortless sequence of complex moves. Underestimate the grace of the great uniter of the Earth Empire at your own peril. And yeah, you just get that her special technique that makes her a one bender team is prowess, and it's all about like her advanced techniques and just, you know, being a really strong bender. They add this kind of mechanic to her to make her not overpowered by she cannot use tricks that prevent her from being knocked back. And yeah, the Great Uniter, resistance is futile, dynamic shift, all for one, earth and might. You know, pretty simple to the point as expected of her, and it's pretty nice looking. Makes sense that they're adding something about all of the different villains into the game, and of course covering our book 4 villain makes absolute sense. The day 14, they have it wrong there, it's actually the day 14 reveal here, is plastic tokens. So you get 10 of each element in terms of plastic tokens, and to just note that they actually wrap around the kind of bases of the characters. So they're not just these kind of you know card based tokens. You actually get these kind of plastic ones as kind of deluxe things here, which is nice. It's more than I expected for this reveal. There's nothing hugely to focus on here. They do mention like they're stackable and stuff like that, but you know, cool, but nothing amazing. And then of course the last day reveal is Unalaq. There was some debate about would it be Unalaq, would it be like Tarlok or someone like that, but it's Unalaq. It made sense. But what I find interesting, what I really like actually, is that they just went for standard Unalaq. They didn't feel the need to make him like Dark Avatar Unalaq. It's just him on his own power, because I was a little worried that Unalaq is often undervalued by the fandom as a character, as a villain. So I do appreciate them actually just acknowledging that like he is actually really powerful on his own, like a Kuvira level kind of type character. So if she gets a one-person team, it makes sense that Unalaq gets a one-person team without needing to be an avatar. So yeah, there's all the stuff you get. There's his minifigure, the cards, his team board, and yeah, here we go. Unalaq's infamy goes beyond his devious machinations and his skilled waterbending. His ability to siphon off his enemy's spiritual energy makes him a foe unlike any other. We'll come back to that. Pro benders find themselves imagining what facing off against such an unconventional bender would be like. How would Unalaq's soul siphon affect them in the arena? How would he combine his most peculiar ability with his incredible waterbending skills? Is this canon? Like, are they adding some new thing to Unalaq's powers here? Or is this some, like, really bad misunderstanding of what spirit bending is? Because, what? Like the way they describe it here, it's like it's meant to be fantasy, and so you're not really meant to take it all that seriously, but at the same time, when did he ever demonstrate this ability to siphon off people's energy? Like, spirit bending doesn't do that. The only description we've had of spirit bending in this specific scenario is that you can use it on spirits, whether that be the spirit of a human or actual spirits, in the light form to like purify them and basically turn them away from being dark spirits. Or you do kind of like the reverse and kind of destroy a spirit by kind of emphasizing the darkness and, basically destroying someone's soul. There was never any sense of him like absorbing people's power or taking away their spirit power for his own. as part of how his ability works. So I'm taking this right now as that's just their interpretation of his powers for the game, and that in no way is meant to be any sort of reflection on what we actually know of his abilities. I get why they sort of would feel the need to do that, to make it a bit more of a like kind of battle focused mechanic, whereas like spirit bending, if you're discussing Unalaq as a fighter and how skilled he is, spirit bending kind of ends up just being something you can only really bring up as like a finisher. Like if he has you kind of like just like trapped in front of him, it's something he can do to just end the fight for good. And it's this like unstoppable type thing because it is impacting your spirit. But it's not really like in the middle of a fight he just like touches you and siphons off some of your spiritual energy. Especially in this case, because of just like how does this really work? Because like chi, as far as we're aware, chi is not really your spirit energy. There is this kind of it's this kind of unexplained thing in the Avatar world, but like there are like kind of like three types of energies. There's like chi, which is basically physical energy. There's spiritual energy, and then there's like cosmic energy. Cosmic energy is for the most part like Avatar stuff, and the energy that kind of powers that. Spirit energy, of course, is kind of what powers like spirits' abilities, their kind of powers, but also it to a degree relates to humans in that when humans meditate into the spirit world, their spirit is obviously powered by spiritual energy because it's no longer connected to their body. But there's still a sense of like, okay, there's still chi energy, which is based on like physical stuff, and like you can train to improve your chi and stuff like that. So how exactly does it work when he like spirit bends to take people's bending away? So yeah, I'm very much interpreting this as a kind of like, yeah, either explain this a bit more and where you got this from, or it's just really specific to the game. In the comments, definitely let me know what your thoughts are on the whole soul siphon thing. Do you think this is some new addition to his powers, or just the game kind of making up a mechanic? But anyway, we'll move on. Here's the soul siphon thing. They explain it here. If you have your spirit bending token on your villain board, you may spend it. If you do, choose one bender in the target space of an attack. Your opponent must discard a card with that bender's element from their hand. If they don't have a card, return your spirit bending token to your villain board. So mechanically, the idea here is how you apply the mechanics to what's actually happening here. The idea that's happening here is that he is siphoning energy from someone, which hinders them from being able to use a bending ability, which is effectively what the attack cards in the game are. So if this is a new technique, they're basically saying that Unalaq has the ability to steal chi from people, or if chi is spirit energy, they're actually making that statement at this point, that he can siphon that out of people to hinder them from being able to use a specific technique, or it's just a mechanic and that's a cool mechanic that makes it work for him. So hard to say exactly, but that's how it works. There's a better look at his board. Pretty cool that you have the moon symbol, water tribe symbols, very nice. Vatu's Alliance, Siphon Strength, and Battle Hardened. I think they did confirm at some point somewhere, or someone said something along the lines of that they've fixed this. Unalaq, in his kind of like his tricks, obviously, are where they introduced the kind of dark avatar aspect of him. His eyes are white. I think they've confirmed that they probably will be switching that to red for the completed version of the game, just because obviously that's visually actually how it looked. It wasn't white. White is for Rava. Vatu obviously is red, and you get Reversal, Cleansing Water, and Waterlog. And yeah, so that's it for our final update. Thank you so much for supporting the campaign and help us spread the word, as we only have 2 days left. So yeah, as you can see up here in the corner, yeah, just over 2 days to go here, 53 hours to go. They've already had 2,219 backers for a total of nearly 170,000. So very much approaching, a crazy amount more than their goal. Nearly kind of going, what, they're close to 7 times their initial goal at this stage. So that's really, really impressive. So we'll see what happens maybe when if they do any sort of reveal right at the end. But just some brief final thoughts of the campaign. I just want to say that, like, overall, what a cool thing to do. Just this entire campaign, the graphics, everything that they did with this. They made what was initially, when this game was first like talked about, announced, something that I don't think many people cared about. They turned this into something that kind of got the whole fandom talking, even if the game wasn't for everyone. Just the reveals, the discussions for myself and my channel, just getting to speculate about all the pro bending teams and predict what they do, what they wouldn't do. That was all really fun. It really gave the idea of, like, Dark Horse Comics. Why don't you do something like that with, like, the reveal for Avatar books? Have some sort of a, like, multi-day kind of event type of thing where you reveal a new piece of information every day. That would be a really cool thing for someone like Dark Horse to do. And so it makes it all the more impressive that, you know, IDW with their first Korra thing did it really well here for like a 15 days of reveals. So there's that. You know, as I said before, ultimately the game didn't really appeal to me. The fact that all the minifigures were going to be unpainted and there was no option within the backing and the kickstarting of the campaign to get them painted, that was just an instant, like, there's realistically nothing they could announce about this game that's going to make me get it now because the minifigures aren't painted. And despite all the other reveals, it was always that problem of, like, yeah, I don't care because they're not painted. And so that immediately, in terms of me actually getting the game, was a big kind of like, no, sorry, as good as some of this looks, you kind of instantly turned me off it with just the lack of paint. That's, I think, for me and a lot of people, just the biggest, like, no. Like, I'm no painter. I'd mess it up if I tried to paint them myself. It would have to be a thing where, like, I bought them painted. So there's that. And then the only thing with regards to the campaign and how it was revealed, they went to a lot of effort to get new character names for the other pro bending teams. I'm really disappointed they didn't use this opportunity to give it a little bit of extra depth on those teams. Tell us more about the Rabaroos. Tell us more about the Porcupines, the Tigerdillos, the Buzzard Wasps, all of those teams, even the Wolfbats. Inform us more about, like, why we want to play as that team. You know, because especially the ones that aren't the main two in the set, that aren't the Firefighters, that aren't the Wolfbats, there's not really all that much of a character or a unique aspect to those teams because, you know, we don't know them all that well. If you went through the effort of getting the names, was there really no way you could have got in touch to just get a little idea of, like, okay, here's the, you know, the dynamic of this team. The Rabaroos, they're all female. Here's the team captain. Here's why they're from. Their team name is like Red Sands, and here's a basic idea of their characterization. Just something like that would have been really cool. As it is now, it kind of feels very just mechanics. Like, oh, I like the fact that the Rabaroos' power allows me to do, like, double movement. I'll play as them, even though I don't care about the characters. And it's like, okay, that roughly is the idea of that team, but, like, it's not really all that unique. So I think they're the main points about this. Like, really, really well run campaign. Some minor problems kind of throughout. You know, I didn't like the idea that the expansion was revealed halfway through. I felt like that should have been there from the start as an option. Felt a bit like, it felt a bit bad to reveal it, like, just with a week to go and ask for more money halfway through, especially with how exactly that works. But overall, success, and, you know, knowing that they've basically announced plans initially to do more Avatar games. The fact that this has been such a success, I think, means that they for sure will do another Avatar game, at least one more, to give it a shot. I'm very interested to see how they do that, and for sure to cover another one of these campaigns if it's done as well as this one. Definitely, I think that one of the big things is that they really showed up Dark Horse. Dark Horse, who have the ability to present to us new Avatar story content, were shown up by a company with a game that initially didn't feel like it would do anything, and they turned a game that initially, when announced, had like no attention, into something that really got the fandom excited for a while, and that is something that Dark Horse really missed out on. This is how you run a campaign. This is how you communicate with your fan base and get people on board with your company. And even though this game didn't appeal to me, I'm absolutely like, IDW Games is doing it right. How to actually handle, getting a new license and dealing with a new fan base, and that's something Dark Horse have really, I think, never done, and they need to fix. But yeah, that has been the video. As I said in the comments, let me know what your thoughts on the whole Unalaq and his special ability here. Do you think it means anything for canon, or are they just making it up for the game? Let me know in the comments below your overall thoughts on the Kickstarter. But yeah, that's been the video. Thanks for watching, and bye.